So let's meet the first of our very special guests. And this one has proved time and again the power of reaching out with his books to inspire people to work hard to make all of our lives that much more comfortable with his trademarked celebrity service. Welcome, Geoff.
Hello, Sue. Hello, everybody. Is everybody well? Good stuff.
Thank you, Geoff.
Good to see you all. Good to see you all. Looking forward to this, Sue.
It's great to have you, Geoff. Thank you so much for being with us. I don't suppose there's anybody in this room that doesn't know all about you, but just in case, maybe we should just kick off by you just telling us what exactly is celebrity service.
Sue, let me just go back. There's people in my family don't know who I am. So don't yeah, God. So celebrity service, yes, as Sue's just said, I'm a professional speaker and author. My brand, my topic is customer service and customer experience, but my brand is celebrity service. And so I deliver keynote talks, presentations for just about every sector, every brand, every type of business across every continent, and have done for the past almost 20 years now. And so what celebrity service is, so just very quickly, Sue, just for everybody, everybody here thinks they deliver a high level of service. If I was to say to you on the scale of 1 to 10, if 1 was abysmal, but 10 was incredible, what number would you give yourself? I don't need to do a straw poll, but the average, the global average, Sue, is 8. Right? That's just to let you know, it's the 8. We get some 6s, we get some 9s, we get the odd 10. Sometimes you get the odd 2. But the global average, what people say is we're kind of 8 out of 10. We're pretty good, Geoff. But there's always room for improvement. Okay, I get that. But where does that improvement come from? Mm-hmm. So we all think we're delivering a high level of service. We all want to improve, but where, you know, there's nothing new in the world of customer service. Okay, there hasn't. For the last 4 decades, every speaker, trainer, manual, book, anything that's out there will pretty much tell you 2 things in order for your business to stand out. And the first is you must go the extra mile. Very inspiring. And the other one is you must always exceed expectations. And I do this on stage and we have a bit of a laugh about it. I said, it's the same old. For 40 years, we talk about the same old. And I say to my audience, as I say into the books as well, this is something new. This is something different. This is something fresh, creative, and this will inspire you to go way beyond the extra mile. And so celebrity service is all about, you think you're delivering a high level of service, but if an A-list celebrity, god or goddess, were to become your next client, we're wanting to book you, we're wanting to be your next customer, come into your cafe, pick up the phone, tweet, walk into your office. What would you say? What would you do? How would you react? What would be the difference? What would be the difference in service you would give them to Sue Richardson, to Paul, to Bev, to Geoff, to everybody here on this call? The difference is the gap. The gap in your service you don't realize exists. So you're delivering a high level, but if a celebrity were to walk in, your service levels go to there. And that is the gap we don't realize exists. And within that gap are the stories, the examples, the ideas, the techniques, everything that I share with an audience on a stage, in a room, or in a book. I share everything on how you can create the gap to outperform the competition. And I do so by telling stories, real life stories, original stories. Fancy that, somebody telling original stories. Original content, it'll never catch on. So that's how I do it. That is celebrity service. That's a tiny little bit about me.
Thank you, Geoff. That's great. That's a really great summing up. And you know, your books. I mean, obviously we've been working with you for a little while, but yes, little plug there. Little. Where's the other one? So, Geoff. Tell us a bit about how you've managed to kind of reach your audiences with your book. Tell us a little bit about your experience of how you use the book in your business and what it's done for you.
There's so many examples. Okay, I'll give you an example of the last 24 hours. That's possibly the best thing to do, right? But recent history, because you went all Gutenberg press. You went all proper history. This is recent history, okay? I got an inquiry yesterday through my website for a business who are putting on an event for 500 to 1,000 staff, and it's an international gig next year. Big one. Big place. And I saw it come through on an email. I was like, oh my word. I don't think Leeds has opened up, never mind any other country. So let's see what happens. So I received the inquiry and the name and the numbers on there. So I called straight back. And I called this guy back and I said, are you okay to have a chat? Yeah, oh, brilliant. Hey, thanks for calling me back so quickly. I said, hey, look, I'm at a conference for the next 2 days. And obviously after our lunch, I'm going to a conference today for tomorrow. And I said, look, I just didn't want to be the customer service speaker that didn't call you back after 3 days. So if you're available now, he said, great. So we started chatting about the event and the title, the theme and things I could do. He'd seen some of my videos. He was recommended to me. So the conversation was going great. But then when it comes to the book, okay, and this is the sort of that's almost the tiny pebble that creates the wonderful wave. I always ask everybody who inquires about booking me to speak, always ask, and I know the answer to this too, but it's a brilliant question to ask, even though I know the answer. I always say to them at the end, I say, oh, before I go, do you have a copy of my latest book? Now, already I've sown the seeds there. Oh, he's got more than one, right? Because the latest one says, oh, there's another one. I said, and now I know the answer. The answer is no, right? The answer is no. It's not in Waterstones. It's not in an airport. Nobody's in an airport now, but it's not in the airport. #1 bestseller, sold 3 trillion copies. It's not quite there yet. So I know the answer is no. And I say to that person, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you the proposal details and we'll do that in the next 24 hours. But give me your address and I'll send you a copy of the book. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Because I want to put the power of my brand in that hand. Simple as, right? I want them to feel the quality. I want them to see the full color. I want them to read the stories. So we're talking about packaging. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about reach. It's not just a case of there's a book and then hope that the reach happens. You've got to work it. Yeah. And I've worked it for 20 years and I will continue. But I talk about customer experience and client experience and customer service. Flipping heck, if I can't do something a little bit different, then nobody can. So I will sign it to that person inside, personally sign it. Obviously, they can't put it on eBay then, right? Got to keep it, can't throw it away. But I've got a thanks card. For those of you in the technology space, this is a card, right? Is it on Kindle? No, it's flipping not, right? It's a card. But I put on there, thanks very much, Paul, for inquiring about me to speak at your conference next March. It would be amazing. Hope you enjoy the brand new book. By the way, these are all little nuggets I want to drop today, Sue. By the way, check out page 13 to 15. And I always put on this note a page that I know that they will bloody love. Excuse my French. So I go check out page 67. I think there's a cracking story there that I would love to tell on stage next year. Best wishes, Geoff. That goes inside the book. And then I dare say those of you who've got books, you've got envelopes, they never will be as good as my envelopes. Right? So those of you wanting to get some, white, brown, crack on, you're just the same as everybody else. But I will spend good money on getting some lovely fancy. So that goes in there. That arrives. And when I put on the email, great to talk to you. The book is in the post. Look out for it. You can't miss the envelope. I would say 80% of the people who book me to speak are female. And they're in departments, event planners. It's just the statistics I have. And I say, look at you'll love the envelope. Have you any idea the responses I get to an envelope? Oh my God, the envelope arrived. People take photographs of it and send it to me. I went, I know, I've sent it to you. I know what it looks like. Very strange. Anyhow, so that arrives. And then people call this a book. and it's a book. You know, a definition. It's a book. People always, I've heard in many circles many times over, Sue, people talk about this as, you know, your greatest business card. Mm. I don't call it this. These are my gig getters. This is what gets me the gig. I don't care about book sales. I know that's going to freak Paul out, right? I don't care about the percentage. I don't care about this one piece of material, right? Which has all my gems in, all my stuff in, all the wonderful stuff, and it looks and smells lush. I want that to go into somebody's hand and they go, we've got to book him for the conference, because that is what gets me the conferences, certainly helps. So I've then sent it. We hopefully strike a deal, and I book the plane, book the train, get in my car. We do the event. But just before that, too, we talk about reach. And, you know, it's a question that I think all of us should ask. If you're in a similar position to me, I'll say, you know, would you like a copy? Would you like a copy for everybody as a gift? You know, as they're leaving the conference, you know, to take the messages back with them on their desk. And it could be a conference of 50 people. It could be a conference with 8,000. But Paul, I think we've had some great successes of late, where I just, you know, 11:30 at night, say to Paul, I need 250 copies for this address. Can you, how much have I got left? And then it's like, bang, it's done. It's done. And I always say to my client, look, you can get them on Amazon, but contact me first, and I'll give you two prices. One is for signed copies, because if they come to me, I've got to sign them and then put them in the lovely sparkly envelope, and then I'll post them from me. Or if you want them direct from the publishers, I can get you a bit of an extra discount as well. So we talk about reach. So that's how I do a bit of marketing in terms of the book. But it's only, and I said this to you last year, Sue, in the first couple of weeks of lockdown, it's all about what this book will do for me, and it helps me get the bookings. Okay, my videos get me the bookings, my website gives me the bookings, my referrals get me the bookings. I get all of that. The book, my gig getter, is a big ingredient in you know, making a lovely cake. So we've got orders going out at the moment, Paul. I think there's 2 big orders have just been shipped. The clients have got them. Brilliant, fantastic. So 250 people at this, I think it was 300 copies we did for a conference last week in Edgbaston. So
we've shipped about 550 in the last, what?
Yeah.
2 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those go out. So if you took 500, let's take that number, Paul, 550, 550 people have my gig getter in their hand, and they've enjoyed the talk, and then they've gone home with the book. And of course, they've got partners or friends or family or relatives around them. What's that book? Oh, we had this speaker. Oh, can I have a look at this? I don't know the statistics, but I know that book's going to go into more than one pair of hands.
Absolutely.
And that person is also, you know, we're looking for, we're doing a conference or whatever it may be. And that's the reach.
Yeah.
That's the reach for me. I think it's a bit like a social media post. You don't know where it could go.
Yeah.
You don't know who could see it, where it could land. But if you don't post it, or you don't print it, or you don't send it, or you don't write it, well, you're going to be invisible. So yeah, that's a little bit about how I do it. Everybody's now thinking, oh, where do I get sparkly envelopes from? But there you go.
That's amazing, Geoff. I mean, that to me, that's what I call star walking. It's walking your talk. And look at all those stars behind you.
Star Warsing, I was going to.
Yeah, I mean, you live it. You live and breathe your brand and exactly what you're talking about. I wanted to ask you about storytelling, because storytelling is a passion of mine. I've been a professional storyteller for 40 years. So what I love about your Celebrity Superstars book is the stories. And you mentioned this earlier about it's original material, folks. So what are the tips that you have for maybe other authors who aren't as accustomed to finding or noticing stories? Because obviously you just have to spot them, don't you? Because you just seem to look for them and find them wherever you go. These great stories about customer service. What tips do you have for other authors about that?
Oh, that's a good one. Me personally, you just have to wake up. right? You just have to wake up in the morning, and guaranteed by the time you've had your breakfast, you've had, maybe it's a great email from a company come through on your phone through the night, because we're going to all have these Black Friday things in the next 24 hours. They're going to be lovely. You're going to receive a wonderful piece of service. You're going to see something a bit naff. So straight away, just after you've opened your eyes, you're going to see good or bad, and you think to yourself, is that great? Is that good? Is it average? Is it shocking? And I use all of these emotions in my head to go, if it puts a smile on my face, if it shocks me, if it goes, gets me angry, then I will capture it.
Yeah.
I will capture it. And I think, I could maybe use that in a story sometime in the future.
Mm.
So what I do, if I come across a piece of service, piece of experience, and it's people, so it's those human things that we come across from time to time. Everything in the world that I soak up is about, I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for opportunities to share with future audiences wonderful things that I come across, wonderful things that I see. But also there's the things that I do, Bev, that I do for clients that I think I'm going to also share that. So the books, if you talk about storytelling, the books, just like my keynote talks, they are all 100% original content. They are all a case of, I was in the pub last week and it was, and this happened. Or I was in a restaurant, or I took my son to the train station, whatever it may be. And there's a story, but I tell that story on a stage just as I would writing it. I think that's the one thing that Sue said to me when she was proofreading a very Northeast jargoned thing. She said, the one thing I'll never do with you is take away your language, because, and I hear this a lot, which is quite nice. And I'm not broad, and maybe I'm a bit Ant and Dec rather than Jimmy Nail. But I hear a lot of people say, when I'm reading your stories, it's like I can hear your voice, and that was important for me in choosing the best book company. In the fact that I could have license to tell the story how I saw it, because guess what? I was flipping there. And so from waking up, I will invariably see a wonderful piece of service or a rubbish piece of service or whatever it is, but I look to capture it. So I take photographs, I'll screen grab. And so I'll capture this. And on my Mac now, on the exact one I'm talking to now, I have over 500-600 stories, slides, because I put them into Keynote or PowerPoint. I have 500-600 slides, stories, ideas. Some of that, when I go through it, I personally don't think is strong enough to go on stage yet. Or some of it might be so obscure, some of it might be so specialist. And yet there's some stories that I develop and create on stage and then put in the book that will be in every single talk that I ever do. So what I'm doing is I'm gathering all of the things that have really hit me emotionally. They've made me cry. They put a tear in my eye. I laughed out loud. I was fuming, right? All of these things, I think, well, that makes a good story. There's nothing worse than watching a movie and nothing much happened. Give us a death, give us an explosion, give us a marriage, give us something. Nothing much happened really. It was just.
I love that. Just focusing on how did it make you feel, and then if you can communicate that to your audience, then they're going to feel that as well.
And of course, I'm telling stories about a Hamley's toy store. I'm telling stories about a train ride with Elliot. I'm telling stories about a restaurant in Philadelphia. And you didn't have to be on that train with me. You've never been to that restaurant in Philadelphia, but you've ate in a restaurant, you've been on a train, and you've been to a toy shop before. So straight away it resonates with somebody. So my stories, very first of all, in order for them to qualify in my head to get into the Mac, to get into a book, to get onto the stage, they have to have really done something to me. So I think that could do the same for the audience. So that's important in terms of the content. However, you can't just get up there and tell a story, smile, take the check and leave. So I, just as in the both celebrity service books, which I'm extremely proud of, we'll come on to that in a minute, just with the books that I have and the talks that I've got, I weave in how that audience, how you, the reader, can use this in your business.
Yeah.
It's pointless. It's, so I find that common ground of this is how you can use it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I like to think the books, should I say, are humorous. They're a lot of fun. They're interactive. So I've got some interactive parts which caused Paul many a sleepless night. So I ask a question on page 36, and I challenge you or your team to create a great experience. So for argument's sake, I'm just making this up, by the way. So on page 36, I say, there's the challenge. Get with your team, create some wonderful, amazing ideas that the world will be blown away with. And once you've done that, go to page 162 to find out what I saw. Freaked Paul out. Hang on. Paul was very 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go to page 162. I said, yes. So it's very interactive, which is just like me on stage. And it goes back to what Sue says. I want the language. I want the tone. I want you. I want to laugh. And of course, it's very visual. It's very visual. So I think I've got a C in English. You might find that out when you've read it. But it's colourful, it's bright, there's images, and it's a case of almost like a bit of a tag team with my talks. I'll give you the story, where I was, what happened, what I saw, what the interactions, and then maybe on the next page it's like bang, that's what I saw, and then you then fill in the blanks from your story to what the person looked like or what I saw that day. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, your stories are so relatable. As you say, they're very colourful, they're fun, but they also make a point, and they always make that. So there's no point in just getting up and sharing anecdotes. It's always about what's the point I'm trying to make.
Absolutely.
From Kate, the lovely Kate Trafford.
Where's Kate? Kate, it's been a long time. How are you doing?
It has, Geoff. It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for everything you've shared so far. It's been fabulous. I loved hearing, Geoff, what you shared about how you use the book now that it exists. I just wondered if you could wind back a little bit and say a bit more about at the stage of writing and developing the book. What thinking are you doing, or what have you baked into the book itself that you think contributes to reach, recommendability, that kind of thing?
I think if I looked at the first one, so Celebrity Service, or the second edition, should I say, which is this one. This was the original book. I knew I had some, so when I trademarked Celebrity Service, which I had to, and that's a must for a lot of things for anybody listening on here. Own your stuff, right? And not just own it, but I'm talking about legally owning it. So I trademarked Celebrity Service, but what I had, Kate, was, like I say, I had stories, I had a philosophy, I had a program almost, of this is how we can start, this is how we end, and I really sort of, I need to put this down on paper. The authority. This is my topic, but I wanted to create something tangible. Yes, for reach. Yes, for many reasons. But I wanted to sort of get it down on paper and own it. Own my space. That's it. That's what I have. And I suppose I'm too creative at times for my own good. So I always start with the front cover. How Paul and I ever work together, I don't know, right? Because Paul's like, that's the last thing we do. I'm like, no, it's the first thing we do, because I can't write the flipping first page. Where's the front cover, Paul? No, you need to do. No, I can't write anyhow. So we had write the book. No, I need a front, and I need to know what the film's called before I get the cast in. So started writing the first one, Kate, on the train. And because I'm based up in Sunderland, I'm 3 hours from London, so I could get a good couple of hours in there, in between watching the Vikings and Game of Thrones. I would just do a little segment. So I would write a story. I I know I can type it because I talk it. That's the easiest thing for me to do. So I literally will type what I know I'm going to say that afternoon at the conference. So I do the story, and what I do is I save it in Microsoft Word in one page. That's the title of it, and I'll put it in a folder on my PC, and I'll maybe tag 2 or 3 photographs that relate to that story, and I've now created a section. All right, not a chapter, but just a wonderful story. Then I'll do another story, another story, another story. It just sort of builds, oh, I'll do an interactive challenge here. I'll do this, I'll do whatever it may be. So I start, and I've got all of these folders. So you can remember this from Superstars. I have all these yellow folders with photographs, but also with a half a page or 3 pages of text. And it's that at that stage I go, right, celebrity. So it stands for consistency, excitement, love, engagement, bravado, response, independence, thank you, and you and your team. I know you're not going to write it down, but you can watch it back. So it's a 9-stage program. Then I looked at the stories, Kate, and I thought, right, that story belongs under bravado. That story is independence. That story is thank you. And suddenly I start to formulate, because you're going to start with consistency, end with you, your team. I start to formulate what the book and the contents can look like. And I'm adding stories in, I'm taking stuff away, thinking, do you know what, I've read that, it's not that great. You know, so I start to shave it and do it and all the rest of it. So that's how I start. I take all of my favorite stories, all of the learnings, all of the ideas. I think I start the book, well, I know. I rant for about a dozen pages about how crap the world is at service. And I felt short of just naming a lot of companies and getting into a lot of hot water. And Sue went, you can't put that in there. I went, I want to. So it starts with rants and saying how bad things are, but don't worry, I've got something for you. I've got something for you. So that's how I did it. Now, that was the first one I did a few years ago now. And when my diary completely emptied last March, let's not skate around things, but last March, April, May, it's a lovely time of year for events. Everybody's moaning about pubs, but nobody complained about events because we weren't. Anyhow, I will rant again. I contacted Sue and I said, I'm going to write another book. And I always remember she was like, so we and Haley, my wife, she was upstairs doing homeschooling with the kids, because if it was up to me, there would be an age of 2 months by now. So Haley did all the homeschooling with the kids. I sat in my office, and I wasn't on a train, I wasn't on a plane, but I had so much time, it was scary. And I thought, I've got all new stories, new things, but I needed to make Superstars a little bit different. I still needed to keep the celebrity service, because that is my brand. That is my brand. So I kept it like that. But Superstars, and it took us a while. I think Paul, Sue, and I were working on this a lot. And the cover and everything, I just love it. But inside, yeah, I wanted to make it a little bit different. It couldn't just be a regurgitated last celebrity service. So I interviewed about 15 of my clients during lockdown 1 and 2. I interviewed 15 of my clients, retailers, professional services, accountants, hospitality. Sometimes it was very easy to get an interview with them because they were like me, they were down in tools. Other people were just flat out. So it took a bit of doing, but we could do it, and we did it via Zoom, and we recorded it. I did the interviews, and I asked, half a dozen questions. So about a third of the book are interviews with some top fab people. So I wanted to make it a bit different. But of course, I didn't follow the celebrity route. I wanted to go Superstars route. I had a bit of history about me that I didn't have before in the first book, but I had all these new stories. And of course, the elephant in the room in this last 20 months has been COVID. So there's a brand new section in there, brand new section in the book. Where is it? I should know. You never read the book after you've done it, do you? It's always, you don't see anything that's wrong. There we go. So I had chapter 6. It's called What a Wonderful World. Which is a wonderful song. But I've got What a Wonderful World, and there was about it was just, yeah, there was a lot of stories there with regards to COVID and what people had done. So it was really fresh and really up to date. I did a few more challenges, but the entire book is 100% different to the first book, but it's all customer service.
An absolute joy to hear all about how you use your books and how you work to create your wonderful special stories and everything. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been great. I'm gonna move straight to the buffet now.